Hello, everybody. We're live and we're going to be doing a very fun long show. It's going to be a long show, so if you need coffee, tea, or anything, or if you need something to snack on, because this show is going to be close to over an hour. And unfortunately for y'all, it's just me. Just me and the knowledge I have about stones and crystals and about how to put them together. We have 3 people in the house, so I'm going to wait for a little bit for people to get into this show because I want to explain to people where this idea came from, how it developed, and what worked. So, if you have any questions you'd like to ask me about it, you can type them in. I'm not sure I'll be able to get to all of them. We're going to go over 40 some crystals. And to see how they worked. And basically, this was what I was approached to do. This lady wanted to bring crystalline energy into her new home. And she'd gotten a crystal grid for me, and she said, "Could you build a grid for a house?" Hi, Dr. Gail. Hi, 3 Shifting Veils. Me. And she first typed an email to me about this I looked it up because I have a whole file on this one. It started last September. And then she and I talked about what she really wanted. She was building a new house. She wanted to put crystals around the house. And I said, like grids. And the first image I had was it was going to be clusters of crystals, not built like grids, but put together to make sense for her home. So when I was looking at it, this is kind of my philosophy about it. We do not seek control over the energy of the house, but in combination with our own heart resonance and the elemental energy of the land, we control through our breath and through setting spirit into the well-being of the structure and of the people on the structure. Clear out all areas as it is finished and make all areas safe. So starting from that philosophy, I asked her, she and I talked on the phone, and then I said, well, put in writing what you really want. And what she wrote to me was, and I'll show you a picture of the lot finally that she sent me. Hi, Kathy G. Hi, Joe. Let's see. Move. Okay. We're going to go to camera 2. We're going to go to camera 2. Right here. This is the plot of the house that she sent me. And I don't think you can see the address on it anywhere. It's in the east. It's now under, as I understand from talking to her last night, 14 inches of snow. I don't think these stones are going in the ground tomorrow, guys. But she's got north, south, east, west, and then she has an entry area here she wanted me to look at. And the way I started working with it, I use this dowsing tool for working with ground. And do I have permission to douse? Okay. Am I working only from my higher self? Am I protected? What I just asked is the 3 questions I always ask before I douse. Now, what I asked when I got on this was, should this be a general dowsing, one bag for the house? It said no. 1 bag wasn't going to make it. To do the whole property, should I deal with it directionally? And it said yes. Just what it just did now. Then what I did is I carefully went across all the property and I won't bore you with that. And I came up with there was no negative spot on her property that I was going to have to adjust to. There was nothing. It was new land. It had a house on it. It had been torn down. They're building a new house on it. And it was clear. So then I took the directions and then I went to part B of how we do this. Her instructions were she wanted 4 bags for each of the directions, 5 if we included an entryway, which we did do. She suggested some stones she liked, but she wanted something that would repel negative energy, attract good loving friends, gifts for the indigenous people who had originally occupied that land, and peace, harmony, and acceptance. My intention for our home is to be harmonious, a loving environment, safe, secure, protected from, and to repel negative energy in all potential forms. I can do a lot, guys. I can't, if something really boo hard wants to come through this, I'm not so sure it can't make that through, but she's a strong shamanistic person on her own. She can deal with that. I want it to be a land that the elementals know that it will be nurtured and cared for. So I did a lot of work with the elementals in developing this. Okay. So now, she and I are on the same page, because what I wanted to do for her, and at the risk of repeating myself because more people are coming in, we do not seek to control the energy over the house, but in a combination of our own heart resonance and the elementals on every land, we want to control the breath and the setting up of spirits and well-being, clear out each area as it finished, and make it safe. So then part B. Now I know what I got to do. I started with this deck of cards, which I've shown you before, which is Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle, and it's written by an author named Lon. It's Lon. That's her only name that she uses for this. They're quite big cards. There's 48 of them. So I spread them out across my table, just all different, just across here. And then I got out my pendulum and I said, okay, which card is for the north? Which card is for the south? Which card is for the east? Which card is for the west? And I was able to come up with a set of cards to do these, to do this layout. Does anybody have any questions so far? Type them quickly. You will not mess up what I'm talking about. Okay, you're just interested in what I'm talking about. So let's get to there. So the first card I pulled, going back to the other camera, okay, wait a minute. Oops. Oh, Catherine. Okay, when she's moving. Like I said, I started this grid. The original contact with her and the email was on the 19th of October. I'm willing to, and she was sort of my test case. So every step of this way, I had to meditate and decide what was the best way to move to get this thing going. So Catherine, when you get ready to move and are thinking about it, let me know and we'll talk about it then. But I would be willing to do this project again. I'm just going to tell you, It's the equivalent of building 5 grids. Each grid is $2,250. And so she and I finally negotiated it to 1,000 because it was a test case for her. So we're gonna go over to the cameras just so you can see what's on the table. It's much more interesting than I am, let me tell you. Okay, here's what's on the table. The first card I pulled is Tantric Journey. And the frequency of Tantric Journey helps us unlock the hidden knowledge and wisdom that we intrinsically hold back about when we reach to, but we need it to reach a state of wholeness and completion through our sensual experiences and through ourselves and those of others, and also spiritual. And you can see how it's kind of laid out now. The other thing she gets with this is she gets a sheet that has every card, the reason for the card, the stones that are in this bag, and what are the power of the stones, and then a little thought afterwards about how to place it in around her house. And so for this thing, and this is going to be the longest, draggiest part, guys. I tried to figure out a way to do this in a timely manner, and I didn't have enough room to put everything out. Okay. Starting with, she starts this with 4 peacock stones. 3 peacock stones, I'm sorry. 3 peacock stones. And if you don't know what a peacock stone is, a peacock stone's like pyrite that's been colored with colors. And what it is actually is the same mineral as pyrite, but it gets drenched with colored stones, and they're shiny and they're pretty, and they have lots of blues and purples and pretty colors. And the peacock stone enhances understanding of difficult concepts because it's got so much color and so many facets in it. The second stone that I picked for this is yellow calcite. And that's to reflect the yellowness and the glowing from the center. The 3 peacock stones show that triangle, which is the way to communicate. And the yellow calcite brings clear confidence, hope, and clears you of self-doubt. It's a very good stone for that. So if you're just looking for a personal stone to carry, you can do that for yourself, or you can do it for a room or a space. Then I got blue impression jasper. And this is a jasper stone that's been colored, but I've worked with these a lot. And it's man-made, and I use it a lot in my grids because the colors are very good. They have it in yellow, and they have it in purple and red. You can get colors you can't get in regular stones. But what the blue impression jasper does is it's a stone of tranquility. And the black obsidian that's not really a stone. It's glass. It's volcanic glass. It's very, very sharp. And it absorbs negative energy, brings mental clarity, opens you up to new horizons. And then the last thing that I, when I was going through the stones I own, was I found this beautiful piece of petrified wood. And it's hard to see the way you're looking at it, but if you look at this petrified wood, you can see that there is a wood grain in it. It's gray and tan. And petrified wood leads to safety, security, and ancestor energy. So this is for the elementals there, to make them feel safe in this space. That's what the bag that she's going to plant on the north part of the property. I'm going to keep these out. So if somebody wants to ask a question about when we can get to it. So that the energy that went into building that is more than the energy equivalent of building a grid. Because I had to look at the tantric energy. I had to sift through my stones. I had to meditate on what stones they wanted to bring forward. Now, for the south, she got a pretty, pretty card. It's called Prosperity. Isn't that gorgeous? And the frequency of prosperity supports our feeling of well-being by allowing the inclusion of everything that makes our body, mind, heart, spirit, and soul sing. It invites us to express ourselves in joy and celebration and abundance. And the fact it's on the southern direction, shamanically, is the south is warmth and it's thriving. Not warm right now today, but normally we're warm and we're thriving. A place where life expands from our past lives. It supports comfort and generosity, brings all kinds of prosperity into the field. And then I blindly pulled the prosperity card. Well, I didn't blindly. The dowsing did it. And our stones for the south in the southern bag. Purple quartz. And it's really a mixed amethyst, but the mine it comes from calls it purple quartz. It's tumbled, it's light violet. It helps with dreams, visions, and prevents nightmares. So it kind of blocks bad past life visions from coming through. Helps engender that power. Then we have a beautiful piece of fire rose quartz. And it's calm, loving, and safety. Then I pulled in a piece of lepidolite, which is a flat, it can be a heavy stone. It's also going to be in flat flakes like this. It's amazing. It's the last crystal kind of that's formed in most volcanoes. It's the stuff that floats to the top to make it. Release and reorganization of our energy as it's coming in from the south. Then we have one of my favorite stones, bumblebee jasper. And bumblebee jasper can be everything from very gray, but it's a very distinctive kind of jasper. It activates sacral and solar plexus, makes decisions with positive energy. Then we have these 3 bits of turquoise. You can see. I'm going to put a stone right after this, and you can say, that looks like the turquoise. The next stone does look a lot like turquoise, but I put these 3 bits of turquoise because there's so much bright blue around the edge. So I wanted to do it for that reason. Stone attunement, direct connection to the third eye, right in there. And then we have chrysocolla, which is this little bitty chip. And you're going to say, that looks just like turquoise. I have a function on my phone. I can do rock identifier. I checked them all again this morning. This is chrysocolla, and it's a wise stone, a healing stone, and a calming stone. So it has a lot of the same functions as turquoise, but it really is its own stone, and it's a really powerful stone. Now, petrified wood, another chunk. So she's got petrified wood in the north and in the south, and that's for safety, security, and ancestor energy. And pyrite. I got this really pretty piece of pyrite nugget, fool's gold. And it's clear thinking, solid grounding, draws power of protection and wealth. And as you can hear, my cold is not completely gone away, and my voice is deciding to leave with it. But this bag is a perfect explanation when I say size doesn't matter. This little piece of chrysocolla is every bit as powerful as this piece of petrified wood, or these 2 lovely chunks, or any of them. Size doesn't matter when it comes to crystal. What you're looking for is the energy contained within the crystal. So I'm going to set this one up. Okay. Are we bored yet? I don't even know. I'm going to go over and see how many of you are in here because I can't when I have the camera down. Okay. Nope. Nobody wants to talk, so we can go ahead. Okay. And if you're wondering where I draw the definitions for the crystals, I've been studying them for 5 years. So I put together a matrix, and it's got 1,000 entries on it. And It's got the crystal. It's got the color of the crystals because, like you'll see, there's different kinds of jaspers and different kinds of things. I plugged that. I plugged the crystal and then its definition and that sort of stuff. So this is the east. And the east is where our energy arises on our property. Whatever, or shamanically, it's where energy arises. And so, one just dropped. Let me go get it. And I think I know which one it was. Yeah. I wish I had a table with a rim, but I've got the desk I've got, and I'm not going to buy a new one. Let's. Yes. Yes. Okay. So to the beginnings of this integration, dawn is the east. It's the beginning. It brings clarity, integration, cleans current, clean current through daily life, cleans the currents of energy through daily life. So decisions, routines, relationships will move in harmony. That's what the east is about. And the frequency of integration is ask each of us to embrace every aspect of ourselves, harmonizing the positive and the negative of our inner world and surrounding it into a balanced life. So the first stone that's going in here, this is an agate. It's a carnelian agate. Agates come in all shapes, and sometimes I buy shaped stones. This one was shaped as a triangle. It grounds and directs our spiritual path. Then I have rainbow onyx, and I really love these stones. I got a whole big bag of them because I actually built this shape out of them. And rainbow onyx, the power of rainbow onyx is happiness, good fortune, and strength. And I think they're such a pretty stone. And then we have the dragon's eye. And that's this one. And the dragon's eye is this red tumbled stone. It's known for its protective qualities. It's a kind of jasper that can almost do what a tiger's eye does. You can see the eye in here. It's the dragon's eye. And then below the dragon's eye, I have, again, black obsidian. As you can see, it's got very shiny, very sharp. It's not a crystal. It's just a chunk of glass. I mean, it looks like a chunk of glass is what it looks like. And it absorbs negative energy, brings mental clarity, opens up new horizons. And then this amber, I had a friend who goes to Estonia. He actually has an apartment in Estonia. Amber is incredibly light. Amber, this almost feels like a piece of plastic. But I know because of where I got this from, this is genuine amber from the period of time when the sap got hardened. And it's this beautiful red color. And you can see where a stick or something was attached to it because it's very smooth. That's the ancestor stone in this bag. That's the one for guidance. That's the one to appeal to the elementals because that was living once. That was sap. It was living sap once. Then we have a yellow calcite. And no, wrong one. Oops. Look for the color. Yellow calcite. And calcite's sort of a clear, almost crystal-y looking stone. And it's for confidence, hope, and to clear self-doubt. Then we got another bumblebee jasper. Activates sacral and solar plexus, make decisions with positive energy. Then I have a yellow adventurine. And, adventurine comes in green, red, blue, yellow. It comes in all the different colors. But in yellow, it means balanced protection and enhanced flow. And remember, the east is where our energy's entering into our property every day. Then I have crocodile jasper. And this only comes from a couple places in Africa. It's a beautiful stone, and it calms the mind and it relieves stress. Black jasper. This is another protection stone. This is a protection stone for the East against threats. It also supports deep meditation, security, and focus. And this woman works with a lot of spiritual information, so it's really important for her to do that. And then this is a gorgeous piece of orange calcite. Like, this is yellow, this is orange. And this orange calcite revives your passions. So as energy flows in, it's going to go over this protection and great enlightenment, happiness and good fortune. And then it's going to have the passion revive, so that the energy that comes in will be filled with passionate, wonderful thoughts. And trust me, this lady, she's a very lively person. She doesn't need much more help with passion and stuff. But I thought it can't hurt. That's what my guides told me. This is what needed to be in there. If you read in Feng Shui, they talk about putting crystals around your house. But they usually talk about putting 1 or 2 crystals. Now, as I've said earlier, size doesn't matter. So you could bury a pretty small little crystal out there, and it would do the same thing as a great big giant crystal. But if you want to go back and find them later, you probably want to start with something that has a certain amount of size. West. Our West bag. West is the resting field. It's the setting of the sun. It carries healing, emotional balance, and restoration. So the home becomes a true place for renewal and release. In other words, you bring energy in from the east. Am I doing this right? Yeah. Well, the way I'm looking at it, this is the east, that's the west. The energy flows across and sets in the sun. The frequency of healing. What does this card mean? And why did I douse this card out of the deck? The frequency of healing supports our ability to restore health and wholeness, using what comes to us through our senses, then harmonizing it gently and wisely. So you got a lot of energy coming in from the east. Here we're going to be harmonizing. Let's see how the stones lay out to harmonize. We start with Bumblebee Jasper again. I told you I like that stone. And I like that stone because I like the messages. Activates sacral and solar plexus decisions and moves things forward with positive energy. Then it's got a mookite. And a mookite is Mookaite. This comes from the river that runs through the area of Australia where they have opal mines. And the only place you can find mookite stones is there. And they have a very different mineral quality. And this one happened to be, it's naturally shaped like a heart. That was not done by a human. And it looks more like a heart on this side. But and mookites can be, they're agates. They can be any color under the sun. This is the one I picked because it promotes strength, vitality, and emotional stability. Then we got another one of my favorite peacock stones, my shiny little multicolored pyrites. Peacock stone, rough and shiny, enhances understanding of difficult concepts. And it kind of passes it out of your life like that. Then lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli calms, strengthens, and gives you the energy to bounce back from stress. And in ancient cultures, there were some where lapis lazuli was as prized as gold. It's what the Egyptians used to make everything blue. It's what they used for their eyeshadow and stuff. Um, I was reading about a nun mystic in the 1100s who, Saint Hildegard, who became a saint. She became a saint in our century because the guys in the old world wouldn't let her in, but she advised people, and she was put in the nunnery at 9, and she wrote a whole essay on lapis and the power of lapis. She did. I have to look some more stuff up because I've just found out about her. She did a lot of work around crystals, and I've never seen her cited in books, but I'm on the trail of finding a book about her. And then yellow adventuring again, balance, protection, enhanced flow. Malachite. This is a thin malachite. Can come like you've seen it all polished up, shiny, and you can see where if this was oiled, you could see those green things more. This is malachite, but this piece of malachite, open your heart, protect your aura, and to deal with the world with synchronicity. And I think it has more to do with me with synchronicities. And then she's got green calcite, real cute little cube of green calcite. Healing from anxiety, balance, and new self-discovery. So on your way out, if there's any energy with questions left, it's leaving your property being healed and straightened out. And then blue, and I'm going to spell this word because I can never say it right. And I've actually gotten a little dictionary thing out that tells you how to say it. I cannot say this word. Chalcedony. And it's kind of between a quartz and a agate sort of looking. It connects your higher self, and your inner wisdom supports spiritual growth and your past life recall. As things are moving away, it's letting you move those into that sort of mindset for you. So that's the East. Are you lost completely by now? Trust me, I did not do these all in one day. Like I said, I started on this project in October. In December, I was told by my guides that it did not want to be completed until 2028, until we were in a 1 year. So I called her up and I said, can you wait a little longer? She said, yeah, we can wait a little longer. And she did, because the last bag she needs for her house is the entry. And for the entry, she got synergy. And the entry signifies the threshold, the meeting place between the world and the home. It welcomes what belongs, softens what's sharp, harmonizes the energy of everyone who crosses the door. That's my definition of energy. And I learned something yesterday. The word threshold. You've heard it all your life. That's a little stoop you step over when you come in your door. That's not what a threshold was. Thresholds were originally, in medieval times, in medieval English, they were in the threshing barns where they would separate the wheat from the chaff. And the threshold for one of those barn doors was really high. And what it was, so that the dust from making the grain would blow out. But if any pieces of little grain that you wanted to keep, they'd be held at the threshold. So it was holding what you threshed. I thought that's kind of interesting, because when I was looking at these definitions again this morning, after working on them a bit last night, in a way, that's what makes sense in a threshold. A threshold not only lets things in and out, but it's kind of a barrier to keep. I view the threshold now as a barrier that keeps the things that I've worked on that I want to keep with me inside my house. Just my thought. Energy of synergy helps us to welcome the not so obvious, new combinations, fresh unions, unexpected cooperation, functioning beautifully by embracing the unfamiliar with what coexists. So if you think about that's the energy you're bringing into your house at your entry, that makes sense to me because it's where we do create fresh unions by the things we let in, by the things we have depart. Now, what stones go with the threshold? And this one's going to show you where size really doesn't matter for little crystals, because this little bag of crystals is outlined in her description. But I am sending it like this because if you put them in a bag, they get lost or they get crunched. Okay. The first crystal, and somebody just asked, did you consider which crystals would work together along with the cards and the directions? Absolutely, Catherine. We're going to start with serpentine. Serpentine is a wonderful stone. And I like this one because it was a triangle, which is communication and balance. That's the sacred geometry in this one. Retrieval of memories and building wisdom. Then we have a rose quartz, which is calm, loving safety. And we have purple quartz. Helps dreams, visions, and prevents nightmares. We have, putting it on the card, that doesn't let you see the colors. Okay. Then I have this is a citrine. This is a beautiful example of citrine. It's really beautiful sample of the golden orange citrine. Success stone clears negativity and brings mental clarity. I don't know if you know this, but in the Middle Ages, and I've said this before, but you may not have heard it, citrine was called the merchant stone. There wasn't a merchant, there wasn't a dealer, there wasn't a person to handle money in the Middle Ages that didn't carry one of these or have that stone in their shop because it was supposed to bring in money. So if you're looking to bring in money, find yourself a nice piece of citrine. Petersite. And petersite discourages negative energies and cleanses the aura. And you'd want that in your doorway, wouldn't you? Something that discourages negative energy and keeps everybody's auras as pure as possible. And then we have a piece of turquoise, a very light piece of turquoise, but it's a piece of turquoise. Stone of attunement, direct connection to the third eye. So it gives you and your entry place the wisdom about what's coming into your house. And then we have quartz. It amplifies energy. This piece of quartz does, and then all these little chips. And the little chips that are in there are chrysoprase. And they're these little tiny blue chips you see in there. They bring thoughts about divine truth. Now, we're going to see all these guys on the table. East. Synergy is going to be over here because it's the entry. This is the south, and this is the north. Now, and you can't see that. Let me raise my camera up. If you get motion sickness from this kind of activity, do not watch. I'm one of those people who does. That's why I like to warn people. This is going to be the entry. And I can't. Okay. Now you can see most of it. Okay. So what I have combined together for this house, and how she's going to put them in the ground, I don't know. She's getting each one of them in their own little bag with a picture of the card and a little index card of a breakdown of the crystals and what they mean. When I'm finished doing the show with them, I'm going to clear them all again. I've got my singing bowl out to clear them. And they'll each go back in their own little bag. And then I won't handle them again. then they become hers to handle and to work with. Okay, and Catherine's question was, did you consider which crystals would work together along with the cards and the directions? Yes, I do. But sometimes if you look up, I've done shows on crystal chaos and crystals that don't get it together. But in some of these places, she wants to bring in new ideas and deal with the established ideas. So what I've avoided by making them sort of leaving them in their natural forms, except for the tumbled ones, you want to watch out for very pointed quartz crystals. If I can, you'd think I'd have one sitting here, wouldn't you? But I don't. Okay, I've got one. I would never send a fairy stone like this with this, because these fairy stones are looking for your third eye. The points on the crystals are looking for your third eye. And this one's to actually soothe, not activate. Now, if you got a stone on here who says, I'm going to activate energy, and you've got it sitting next to a stone that says, I'm going to calm you down, that can cause trouble. But I really wouldn't look at it that way, because what happens is when I build one of these, I spend a lot of time holding stones. I have them all spread out on a table. At one point, I had probably 350 crystals out to try and come to the decisions about these things. But basically, I take a lot of keys from the colors that are in the cards. You'll see this one has a lot of yellow in it. This one has a lot of yellow in it. And I put a lot of yellow in that. So I work with color clues also. And the other thing is, when I do this, I lose track of time. I'm not completely here. I'm doing it, but I'm not doing it. And I think that, it just depends on how you have to feel it. Okay. And so I hope that answers your questions, but you saw how I select the cards. I start with the activation deck. Then, because she wasn't here to do it with me, I dowsed and said, which card wants to be north? And it told me which one wanted to be north. And then I looked to make sure that I felt like the dowsing rod knew what it was talking about. And I agreed with how those elements went together. And finally, actually yesterday, when I was finalizing a whole lot of this, everything was in the bags. Everything was ready to go. But when I finally wrote it down and put it in an organized form like this, I saw that, yeah, it all works. If I was living in a house, this is how I'd want the energy to flow around me. It can work. Now, some of these I think I could have done with 2 stones, but I wanted to get the full range and color and grade of stones that could help her. And because remember, the goal of this is to bring all the energy into the center of the home. And I think I did that. I did it with this vision in mind. That's where it should go now once she plants it. Before, when I was gathering the stones together, this is what it looked like. All these stones are out here on the perimeter. It's what she brings in that's going to help her live with this and go with it. And she could bury him in the bags. I presume she's going to be a smart lady and put him in some sort of plastic container or some wooden container or something. but she's going to bury them in her yard. That's my understanding from her. And there are actually little instructions at the bottom. It says placement. Place this bag on the south side of the new dwelling, outside the foundation line, but inside what they consider their southern boundary. Yes, that's what she's going to do. Let's see. Okay, this is a not this question. This is not what we're doing now. Someone wants to know about when I'm going to go back to doing open mic readings. Well, I've had this project where I had to listen to poor Dr. Gail when she was writing her book. She got to hear more about my building this thing, and she's in the room. I don't know if it came up to what she expected it to feel like at the end. But I'm very, very happy with it. I think it covers all the bases of what not only she asked for, but what she needs and how it's going to work. And you could put them, if you were doing, okay, if you had a condo, you'd probably keep them in the bags and put them in the corners of the condo. Unless you had a really weird condo. I live in a condominium. I couldn't bury the bags outside, but she specifically talked about wanting to work with the land and the elementals, and that was part of my request for working with her. And as I summarize, this is the prayer I'm sending with it for her, guys. May this house be grounded, protected, and at peace. May its walls hold safety, its rooms hold clarity, its threshold welcome harmony. May all who dwell here be restored, supported, and guided. And for each person's place, everybody'd be different. If you wanted, in essence, what I've done is I've taken the concept of what I do with crystal grids, and I've gone and made it much bigger, and taken a lot more. Because it's the first time I've done it, it was a lot longer pull. Plus, within the universe, there was a lot of negativity, and I didn't want to build into that negativity. But let's see. I'm going to go down and see if there's anything else. Yeah, and speaking of things, may we all remain safe with electricity, heat, have all our needs be met. So be it. And may we all hold a place in our hearts for the innocents that are being harmed by the masked invaders that our tax dollars are paying for, along with the people who are being held. And unfortunately, I live in a state that has several places where people are being held. And that without cause, without reason, without due process. And now we're back into weather reports. It is pronounced Chalcedony. That's the word. You know, the way it's spelled on the paper, I should never look at it, but it is Chalcedony. Thank you, Mary McSorley. The stone I said I can't say. And this lady surrounds herself with, I don't know, you can have too much citrine. I don't know. I think some of the stones that activate you and make you want to go, 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 I think you can overdo with those. But citrine, I don't think so. I don't think, Elizabeth, you can. Barbara, just go back to the beginning. That's where I talk about how all this got started. They're buried. They'll be clearly marked, which is the north bag, south, east, west. I showed a pattern of the property. Yeah. This is the property it was built for. And in addition to dowsing over the cards, I also dowsed over that chart. Now that I learned how to do from Tim Walter, who you can go find. He's got YouTube channels. He talks about house clearings. And in England, it's like somebody said you can't dig 3 feet in England and not run into someone else's history. So there's a lot of energy in the land in England, and he spends a lot of time clearing it up. And he's one that I learned about ley lines from. I learned about earth energy lines from him. I did find she doesn't have any ley lines on her property. She doesn't have any pronounced earth energy lines, but she has a lot of elemental energy coming out of the woods that are just north of her property, which would make sense because it's an untouched area. Oh, Dr. Gale said, yes, listening to me talk about building this grid was as tedious as listening about her book. Thank you, Dr. Gale. Okay. Okay. Next Tuesday, I'll do an open mic. Hopefully. Flower, beauty, peacock, rainbow. And I might break down and do a show. I actually, after this, I'm going to rest because I'm still having trouble fighting off this cold. And I'm rearranging some other things. You can. That's a beautiful combination, citrine and moonstone. They're great. Oh, it's not just on the estuary, Elizabeth. Some of the oldest artifacts in England are up in the high Scottish Isles. It's where, before the Ice Age came and wiped it, I mean, it's old stuff. There's whole stone-built villages on the edges of the sea. There's some of the best preserved prehistoric villages are up there. Go to History Channel and type in prehistoric villages, and you'll learn more than you're wanting. But it's fascinating because, fortunately, because of some stuff I know from past life readings, those were my people. Probably why I don't like cold. Yeah, I can do readings, Christy. And if, the other thing is, if anybody wants a reading, they can go to my website and order one. I have, but I will be doing readings. People, see, Christy, I'm stuck between people like you who love my readings and love the things I do. And we found a great deal of stuff on your readings. But also, I get constantly from people, when are you going to do something with crystals? When are you going to do something with the stones? Yeah, this lady's house is built. Her house is now under 14 inches of snow. She sent me a picture from her back patio today, and she's got this gorgeous stairway that goes down to the back lawn, and it goes down to like 5 steps up from the back lawn. So, yep, mudlarkers are people who used to dig up stuff along the Thames, and now they go out all over the land. If you've never seen Time Team, look it up. It's a YouTube channel. Time Team will teach you more about British history than you ever want to know. Okay, Christy, email me a date and time. I'm open all week. And I'm sorry I missed it. I got a whole bunch of things on. No, I do not. Trust me, with this voice, you don't want me singing. You don't want me singing. You're looking younger and younger every time I see you. Sandra, go see your eye doctor. I'm at 54 minutes, but okay, let me just quickly go through this process again, and I'll do it with the graphics I did. I know we do Rossi, but we don't package it up as neatly as they do on Time Team because there are people in America that don't want you to know they're American Indians. I know the Great Serpent that goes through Missouri, all those things. Yeah. We've got history. Our history goes back a lot further than we think. And in South America, it goes back a lot further than people thought. Okay. There, I've got, if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, you can go to there. You can type in buy me a cup of coffee. I can't. YouTube are such butts, they won't let me put it up as a hit graphic. But if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, you can do that. And I'm at Crystal DRI 3. And it'll take you right to my page. You can click in. It's got dollars amounts. You can help buy me a cup of coffee. Keep this station going, guys. I really do need your help right now. Especially after this winter storm, I don't even want to know what our power bill is going to be. And people love learning about stones and crystals. They love learning about all this stuff. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to capsulize for you. When I was approached with an email that said, you think I'd be organized. Okay. Review of the phone call. 4 corners, 4 bags. There were 5 entryways to her property. She eventually picked one. She wanted 1 bag for. So these were the markings on the outside. How am I going to pull the energy that's out there and where they sit, north, south, east, west, in the entry, to protection? She wanted protection. She wanted repelling negative energy, which I would consider protection, attracting love, good friends, health, and prosperity. And she wanted the land to feel gifted back to the indigenous people who had lived there once, because she lives in New England, where there were indigenous people were there. My intention is for our home to be harmonious, a loving environment, safe, secure, protected from and repel negative energy in all potential forms. I would like to attract and welcome loving energies and frequencies. I want the land and the elementals to know that I'm here to nurture and care for them. That was her original. That's the request. So I have to go out in the universe, work with crystals, figure out how to get it to there. And now once she plants her bags, all that energy is going to be going into the center of the house. And it's going to be going all over the house. I kind of think it's going to be like a dome of energy over the house. And that's what this has been all about. And now I'm back. And I'm going to be so happy to bundle this off to her. I still have to print some cards and do a few little other things to clean up. And I promise you, Peacock Rainbow, I will have an opens reading next week. Even if I have another person on with me, we'll both do readings. And I hope all of us, what I really hope for is we're at this stage now in our country where we're all thinking about all the wonderful energy and color and meanings we can bring into our lives so that we can shield ourselves again and become who we are again. And with that, I thank all of you for coming. I enjoyed this. I really did enjoy doing this show. And not that I don't enjoy all the shows, but some are more meaningful than others. Thank you so much. Yep, the dome will extend below the house because I've programmed it to go into the land. And you don't take things from out of the land and not have them go into the land. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.